All right, so we're going to talk about each of those today in the power of vision. We're going to talk a very little bit about goals, but let me just clear this up, the difference. So, vision is the ultimate end game, right? And then goals are, accomplished on the way to the vision, if that makes sense. So it's almost like goals is the breakdown of your vision. So we don't have enough time to do both today because just the vision workshop itself might be an hour and a half to 2 hours. But what you're doing is, you're investing an hour and a half to 2 hours to really increase your probability of hitting your goals for the whole year. So I don't mind investing 2 hours to set me up for a successful year. Okay. So that's how you want to look at today's workshop. Again, if you just made it in, one more last reminder, make sure you have something to take notes with. It's going to be very, very important that you do that. Okay. That's that. Let me see, make sure we got all the preliminary stuff out the way before we go ahead and move forward. Okay, boom, boom. All right, we talked about that. Da, 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 da. All right, awesome. All right, well, let's get right into it. Again, so my name is Billy Scott. I mentioned, my story, but after I learned goals and vision and after being stuck, how many of you are going through some stuff right now? You might feel stuck right now. You might be, whatever the case is. Well, if that's the case, what happens is, a new vision is the beginning of changing that. Because if you're stuck or if your circumstances currently aren't where you want them to be, okay, first of all, don't feel alone. And second of all, the reason why I say this is because if you don't have a new vision, then all you can focus on is the old one. And guess what you get more of? You get more of what you focus on. So the beginning of change is awareness, which is we're bringing a lot of awareness today of, how these things work. But then the next step is a new vision of what the things that you really want. And guess what? If you focus more on what you want, then guess what? You'll get more of the things that you want. So that's what today is all about. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This thing is absolutely free, but just know there's been literally 6 figures over the course of my journey invested in my personal growth, going to classes, reading books, learning from mentors, going to events, traveling. Like there's been a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of years and experience invested to get the information you're going to learn today. And you all get the chance to get it for free, but I want you to treat it. I want you to take notes. Here's the trick. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a little tip. The trick is I want you to take notes as if you invested $1,000 today to show up here. How many of you would agree that that's a different quality of notes you would take, right? If it's free, we're like, we're playing with the cat, you know what I mean? Like we're just, it's a lot going on. Like if I know Clubhouse is popping, the new app, shut that down right now, okay? Like you want to be focused right now for this information, and you can go back to, the other things that you are into. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to start with a quote from Helen Keller, somebody who a lot of us are familiar with and done some amazing things in her life in spite of some of her handicaps, including being blind. And what she said is when somebody asked her, that one of the keys to her success, she said, well, I would rather be blind with no vision. She said, I would rather be blind, okay, with no sight than to have sight with no vision. Right? So that means even though she's blind, she always had a big and strong vision. She was always able to see into the future and have clarity of the things that she wanted to create or participate in. And so, again, I would rather be blind with no sight than to have sight with no vision. Very, very powerful statement. So now we're going to also get into talking about a new mindset leads to new results. Okay. Before we get into the vision part, I do want to highlight a little bit about goals because this is going to be very important for you. And by the way, any of this stuff you can feel free to screenshot, okay? And I will screenshot this one. What you're looking at right now is called the 6 areas of life, or what we like to call it is the wheel of life. The wheel of life it looks like a wheel, right? Like a bicycle, okay? And on that wheel, you have 6 spokes, okay? And on these 6 spokes, here's what I would recommend. So you want to look at the middle as 0. Imagine having the number 0 in the middle. And then at the end of each spoke, you have the number 10. So basically what you would do is label each of these spokes with one of these areas of life. So what are the 6 areas first? Okay, before I talk about how to use the will, okay? So this one says ethics and beliefs. Now this is your spiritual life, basically, spiritual or ethical part of your life. So you got your faith. Then you have your family, right? Your family and home area of life. That's another area you want to set goals in. Then you have your financial and your career goals, right? Then you have your mental goals or educational, right? You always want to be growing. You always want to be, what goes in must come out. How many of you would agree that every day when we are bombarded with negative sources, right? TV and media and social media and, drama and politics and, right? So if that's the only thing that's going in, guess what's going to come out? So if it's only negative going, garbage in, garbage out. So you have to be consciously putting in positive information in order to create a positive life. It's hard to intake negative sources and then produce a positive life. So the only way you're going to do that is by being intentional about the mental educational part of your life. The next one is your social life, right? Social or cultural. So you want to be intentional about, expanding your social horizon, whether it's expanding your network, right? And meeting new people, trying new things, going new places. Write this down. Every time you try something new, you grow. So make a habit of always trying new things. Otherwise, our lives will become stale. It'll become like a pond with no outlet. There's things flowing in, but nothing flowing out, and it becomes stale. And so make a habit of always trying new things. Now, the next area is your physical area of your life, which is health and nutrition, okay? You wanna set goals. Do you know that goals don't hit themselves, right? You can't hit a target that you never put up. So in 2021, what I encourage you to do, most people set resolutions, okay? Resolutions are very rarely met or achieved. Successful people set goals, they set plans. Successful people think on paper. They don't just say it, but they write it down. And we'll talk about that on the next slide in a second. So those are the 6 areas. So faith, family, finance, fitness, fun, which is your social life, right? And then you got your mental educational area of your life. So now that you have these 6 areas of life, what you want to do with the will of life, every 90 days, I encourage you to do this exercise I'm going to explain to you right now. The exercise is you take each of these spokes and label the spoke out here. And I will put the label on the end of the spoke versus inside. So let's say the end of this spoke says my finances, okay, or career. What you do is you label the spoke put 10 notches, and you put it 1 through 10, starting from the center, which is 0. Okay, and you want to ask yourself currently, right now in your life, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in each of these 6 areas? So if this first spoke is finances, you could rate yourself, and it might be a 5 or a 6, right? Or wherever. And then you go to your family and home. How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 of the attention you've been giving to grow in that area as well? And that might be a 5 or a 6 or a 7, right? And then you have your faith, and then you have the other areas. After you draw out, you put a dot on each line of where you currently are. What you want to do is draw a line from one dot to the next dot over on the following spoke. After you connect all the dots, that's going to show you what your current will of life looks like. What do I mean by that? Well, imagine that you were driving a car that looked like that will that you just drew out. Okay. My question is, how far do you think you would get if you have 4 wheels that look like that? I know we've seen Flintstones, and their wheels weren't that smooth, but in 2021, if we got 4 wheels that look like your dots, ask yourself how. Now, nobody ever has a 10 out of 10 in all 6 areas. That's not what we're saying. But I would rather be, a 5 in each area and have balance as much as possible than to not have any at all. Now, when it comes to those that, if you like myself, that are super ambitious and you got some, major goals and ambitions and things you're going after in 2021, a lot of times you do have to get unbalanced in order to create balance. So you do have to focus a lot of times more on one or two areas to get out of your situation or to get to the next level. But that's going to put you in a better position to then have the balance that you need. So that's it, just to bring clarity to that. But these are the 6 areas. This is the Wheel of Life. Make sure you've screenshot it. And now I want to highlight the 6 steps to goal setting. So what you want to do in each of these 6 areas is write your goals down. And what you see on the screen right now is the 6 steps to proper goal setting. I didn't make these up. These are tried, tested, and proven. Almost 100 years now. These were written in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And after, over 25 years of, him researching the most successful people, he found out what they all had in common. And this was the general process. They might have all did it a little bit differently, but this is the general process that successful people use to achieve their goals. Step 1, they write it down. Okay? They write it down. Successful people think on paper. So your goals must be written. Matter of fact, before I go over these 6 steps, I'm going to share a quick study for you all on goal setting. Okay, we shared this on Clubhouse the other night, so I'll share it with you all as well. All right. Some of you are like, what is Clubhouse? What is this Clubhouse thing? It's a new app that's on social media and it's taking over, and people are spending more time on that than everything else. So it's taking over our lives, basically. I'm just kidding. It's actually pretty cool, fun, and valuable if you go in the right rooms. But another story. So quick study. So they did a study at an Ivy League school, and at this school, what they did is they took the graduating class of this school. Okay. And this isn't just any college. It's a Ivy League school. And it's also not just any students, it's the graduates for this particular year, I think in the 50s, okay? And what they did is they asked them at graduation, they did this little study and they asked them how many of them had goals. Here's what they found out. 85% of them had no goals. 85%. 12% had goals, but they did not write them down. And then the last 3% had goals that they wrote down. So after 20 years, here's what ended up happening. They actually found out, they followed up, on this graduating class, and they all went into different directions and different careers and professions and moved to different places. And after 20 years, they wanted to check in where all of them were in their lives. And here's what they found out. They found out that 12% of them, the 12% that set goals but didn't write them down, their net worth was worth more than the whole other 85% combined. Just because they had goals, even though they didn't write them down. So setting goals is powerful, but guess what else they found out? The 3% that had goals and they wrote them down, guess what? Their net worth was worth more than the whole other 97% combined. So what does that mean? Just by you setting goals and writing them down, you instantly put yourself in the top 3%. All right. So I would write them down. The next thing is to be specific. You have to be specific. You can't just say, I want to lose weight. No, how many pounds exactly? You can't just say, I want more money in 2021. No, how much? Tony Robbins was doing an event. A guy came on stage. He said, what is it that you really desire? What do you really want? And the guy said, I want more money. Tony Robbins said, here's $1. Beat it. You have more money now. See, you got to be specific. When you understand how we are made up of energy and we live in this space of energy called the universe, there's a direct connection of what you ask for and what shows up in your life. See, when you get clear on what you want, we'll talk about it in deep as we get into it deeper. The universe moves. The universe does things to conspire to position you for the things that you're asking for. So if you're not specific, then guess what? Fuzzy goals creates fuzzy results. The universe doesn't know what to send your way. All right, cool. So 1, write it down. Number 2, be specific. Number 3, set a date. If you don't set a date, you'll keep procrastinating. You'll keep putting it off. 5 years will pass and you're still working on that thing. Give yourself a deadline. When you think about stores or retail stores, and they always have what they call, promotions, and things like that. And the reason for those is to get you to have a sense of urgency. So you got to create your own deadline. Okay. So you got to set a date. Number 4, make a plan. The plan does not have to be perfect. All you need in your plan is enough to get started. Like, I might not be a fitness trainer, but if I'm setting some fitness goals, I know that the first part of my plan is to, maybe get a membership. And obviously you don't have to have a membership. You can work out at home. But number 2, you need to do a little bit of cardio, or you need to, right? You guys see my point? Like, you need to, enough to get started with your plan. And what happens is your plan gets better as you go. See, after you take action, the next steps show up. A lot of people are trying to figure out all the steps before they take action, and that's not how it works. Okay, so make a plan, enough of a plan to get started. And again, this is in each area of life. Number 5, pay the price. This is where it gets serious about goal setting and goal execution. You have to be willing to pay the price. What do I mean? It's called the law of sacrifice. In order to go up, you have to be willing to give up. So what are you willing to give up in exchange for your goals? What is distracting you? What are the things that are eating up your time, eating up your money, right? What are you willing to give up in order to achieve your goals? And we'll talk more about that later on, but you guys can already start thinking. And then number 6 is you got to view your goals daily, which means you got to put them somewhere you can see them every single day. You don't just write them in a notebook and then close the notebook and then you don't see them for 3 months, right? Out of sight, out of mind. So you got to write your goals, put them somewhere you can see them every day, in your wall, your office, your mirror, right? Put them somewhere you see them your screensavers. Like, this is how you have to be about your goals. And again, all of this we're going to go deeper on. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of goal setting and setting goals in all this 6 areas of life, so you can have some goals, because the goals is what's going to lead to you accomplishing ultimately your vision. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. Now let's get into this workshop, and I'm actually going to, at this point, mute my video out, and I want to give you all the opportunity to focus 100% on the information. Sorry about that. All right, so I want to give you all the opportunity to get to focus 100% on information. So what you see on the screen, it says success is 90% mindset, 10% skill set. And so today we are going to dig deep in the concept of vision and give you all the opportunity to be able to get a proper understanding of the necessary mindset to go out there and achieve whatever it is that you want to go after this year. Okay. The other thing I want you to understand, this is the only time we're doing this year. Okay. I could give you, some help in the middle of the year, but this is specifically designed to set you up for a successful year. So I don't want you to think, oh, I could halfway pay attention and, hey, just let me know when the next one. There is no next one. The next one is in 2022. Okay. So it's the only time we're doing this. Also, what we're going to be breaking down to you is the process of taking a thought or a goal and then making it a reality. Most people don't know how to do that properly. So that's what today's workshop is all about. How do I take a goal and actually make it happen? There's a lot of people who don't have goals, but there's another group of people, they know how to set goals, but they don't execute most of their goals. So we're going to talk about how to take your goal and make it become a reality, what we call manifesting your goals. Okay. Now today, everything that we're going to talk about could be applied towards each area of your life, but majority of our conversation is going to be about your finances. Okay. Some people say money isn't everything. You're right, but it does rank up there with oxygen. Okay, and water. It's pretty important, right? Money isn't everything, I know, but it affects everything. It affects what you drive, where you live, how much you can give and contribute, and right? So and money is just the easiest thing to measure. And right now in 2021, a lot of people are going through a lot of financial challenges right now So we want to help people get clarity on how to break through in that area. But again, these things will be applicable in the other areas of our life as well. Okay. All right. But the last step before we get into this again is, again, reminder, I'm going to need you to focus intensely. Like I need you to focus more than you focus on anything in a long time in order for you to get the value this is designed. So I need you to have a clear mind. I need you to lock in, cut out the distractions, turn off the TV. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, great. All right, so success is 90% mindset and 10% skill set. So before we go any further, let's define what is the definition of success. Is it a lot of money? Like, what is the definition of success, right? Well, I'm going to define it for you because we need to be on the same page of what success really is before we move forward. And you should write this down. Okay? Success, the definition of success from Earl Nightingale. I would recommend for you to write his name down, Earl Nightingale. How do you spell it? I don't know. But when you start typing it on YouTube, it'll pop up. All right. Earl Nightingale is one of the, godfathers of the personal development space. And Earl Nightingale has don't just write his name, but also write this audio, The Strangest Secret. I'm going to be recommending several books and audios that you should be listening to or reading throughout this year to support your goals. Okay. Thank you, Jairus. Okay. So that shows you don't have to know how to spell everything to be successful. Okay. Plus his name is not normal. It's not, all right. His last name is not like Scott. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, all right. Earl Nightingale. Jairus put his name in the comments. Thank you. But he has an audio in there called The Strangest Secret. This was one of the most powerful audios I heard in the beginning of my journey. The Strangest Secret, not The Secret. That's a powerful one too. That's like, that's in today's time, not too long ago, but The Strangest Secret was like 50 years old, okay? The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And what he said is the definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. You guys are like, what? Say that, what? Say that again. All right, school didn't teach me that, right? Okay, success, the definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. What does that mean? Success is making progress towards a goal, which is the ideal, okay, that's worthy. So what does that mean? Success is not the destination. Success is in the journey. Success is in the progress. Okay? The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now, here's another thing. So I want you to understand that that's what success is. So success is not, the ideal doesn't have to be money, is my point. The ideal might be your career. The ideal might be your, fitness goals. The ideal might be things you want to do in the community. The ideal might be community service. It might be nonprofit. It has nothing to do with money. Success is a worthy ideal, a worthy goal, and the progress you make towards it. All right. So now, success, write this down, is 90% spiritual. Some of you are like, so I got to go to church to hit my goals this year? No, relax. I'm gonna fill it in. I got you. Okay. What do I mean? 90% of success is intangible. It's the things that you cannot see. And only 10% of the stuff we can see. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of times we start a new thing or we set that goal or worthy ideal and we go straight to the skill sets. Tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. No, you won't. Right? Because if you don't have the right mindset and you don't understand the 90% of stuff that's intangible, the stuff you can't see, then you'll never take action on the skill sets. All right. How many of us have goals and we already know what to do? and we still don't do it. See? All right. So without the ingredients of the stuff we're going to cover today, you can acquire all the skills that you want and it won't work. Trust me, I failed for the first 13 years of business. But I had the skills for my business. Okay. All right. Now, let me ask you this other question. How many of you ever seen people that like execute their goals and it seems like they're doing it effortlessly? You ever see that? It's almost like they're just like floating through, you know what I mean? Through their journey. You ever see people like that? It's because they have this 90% down. So they don't have to work as hard, and they probably work hard, right? But it's efficient. It's efficient because they're solid on the 90%. All right. So now with that in mind, that's what success is. We understand success is 90% mindset. Now we're going to talk about the 4 basics of success. Okay. Number 1, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? In 2021, you got to be very clear on the answer to this question. Who are you going to listen to? Anybody that's accomplished anything great had somebody that they listened to. Michael Jordan still had a coach. LeBron James, right? Kobe wouldn't play. You guys, how many of you seen The Last Dance? Michael Jordan documentary. He did not stop playing basketball because he was ready to stop playing for the Bulls. He stopped because Phil Jackson wasn't going to be there, his coach. So who are you going to listen to? And when you decide on what the answer is to that question, obviously you want to listen to people who've produced the results. And I want to take it a step further. This is how serious it is about your goals and your vision. Who are you going to submit to? I'm using some triggering words purposely. Who are you going to submit to? What do I mean by submit? Submit, I don't mean submit like a slave or something. Submit meaning who are you going to follow without questioning them? Okay. We're going to talk a little bit, right? We're going to talk deeper about, because here's what's going to happen. On your journey, there's going to be a lot of voices. There's going to be a lot of voices. There's going to be, listen to this person, listen to that person, listen to this person on YouTube, 6 steps to, this person got 10 steps to do this. It's going to be a lot of voices. And if you try to listen to them all, guess what? You'll be like an octopus on roller skates. Imagine that visual. You'll be all over the place, okay? Some of you like, what? Okay, you'll get it on the way home. Don't worry about it. Just go along. See, anybody that works with me knows who my coach is. My coach is a guy named Alfred Nixon. You know what's crazy? Alfred Nixon is 10 years younger than me. Doesn't matter. He's produced the results. Shyla, it took you a minute to get that one? All right. So a couple of things again about your coach. One, it has to be somebody who's produced the results. You know why? It's a lot of people. How many of you agree? There's a lot of people out there that haven't produced the results, but they're still trying to give us their opinion. And a lot of times they still sound smart. They sound like they know what they're talking about. And sometimes we'll listen to people just because of who they are, not because they produce the results. This is why you got to be clear up front in the very beginning of the year who you are going to listen to. A lot of us are listening to our neighbors when it comes to our finances. My mentor told me a long time ago, he said, Billy, if your neighbor knew so much, they wouldn't be your neighbor. If Your coworker knew so much. Probably wouldn't be your coworker. Now, when it comes to your finances. So you got to be clear. Another thing about who you're going to listen to, it has to be somebody that you trust. Okay? It has to be somebody that you trust. So why? Because soon as the trust is questioned, then guess what? Then you'll question all of their advice, all of their guidance, their leadership. All right, sorry. So this is, I hope you have some people or mentors or, you know, that's coming to mind. But yeah, my coach is Alfred Nixon. Our team, that's our coach. Okay. Now, if you're thinking, well, I don't know for what I do. Maybe you're in real estate. Like if you're in real estate, I wouldn't just go with any broker. Who's the broker that is not just successful themselves, but they've helped people. They've helped their team become successful. They've helped create 6-figure income earners or maybe 7-figure income. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't just choose a broker just because they're nice. Jim Rohn said, hey, be careful. Don't be quick to follow somebody just because they're sincere. He said, because guess what? It's also possible to be sincerely wrong. Results. All right, so who are you going to listen to in 2021? Now, as we start to progress and talk a little bit more about this, we're going to talk about establishing the vision. What I'm going to talk about, right, you know, as a starting point. Now, a lot of the people, type a 1 in the chat if you are already a business owner or entrepreneur. You're self-employed, okay? Awesome. Perfect. All right, good. So when it comes to establishing your vision and from a financial standpoint, here's the vision that we want to start the year off. Write this number down, $10,000 a month. That's the minimum. Now, I know some of you that are tuning in you already make that or more. So you could adjust it in a minute once I explain it. $10,000 a month. Here's why. Because if you're in a business, how many of you would agree that $10,000 should be like the bottom line? Otherwise, you can just go get a job. So if you're going to be in business and you're going to be doing something that you have control over, you have control of how much money you make and how much work you do or how many clients you get, right? Why would you set a goal lower than that? So the other reason why I'm going to use $10,000, I'm just using it as a number that we can use across the board for everybody listening in. So we have a number to go off of. Now, if you already make more than that, then you can set a bigger goal as we go through how this works, all right? But $10,000 a month or more is the minimum vision for 2021. Now, even if you're not a business owner and you, let's say you're an employee, and guess what? You can still write that number down because you can still make some adjustments this year that can, you know, potentially increase your income and so forth, right? So just write down $10,000 a month. Now, going back to who the coach is that you choose, it's one thing to choose a coach that makes $10,000 a month, but it's another thing to listen to a coach that has mastered helping other people make $10,000 a month. You see the difference? So now that you have your vision helps make it easier who you choose as your coach. All right, so that's number one. Who are you going to listen to? Number two, Oh, so wait, hold on. Yeah. How teachable or coachable, not or, and coachable are you? Second basic of success. How teachable or coachable are you? Write this down. What is your willingness to learn? You lost me? Did I, what? What happened? Did I fade out? Did I lose reception or something? Okay, thank you. All right. So, what is your willingness to learn multiplied by your willingness to change? Your willingness to learn times your willingness to change. The majority of people have things that they need to change. Like there's literally, the majority of people have things that they have to change before they can break through. And guess what? It's usually the things that we can't see. See how this is all coming together? I'll say it one more time. Majority of people have things that they need to change before they can break through. And it's usually the things that we cannot see. So some of those things could just be laziness. It could be pride, lack of discipline, certain habits, addictions. Here's the first place to start, by looking at your daily routine. John C. Maxwell said, your success or your failure is hidden in your daily routine. Okay? Here's my question for you. Whatever you thought about so far, okay, I just got a question. So in the beginning, I said the question about how teachable or coachable are you? The question was, what is your willingness to learn times your willingness to change? Okay. So the question I have for you all right now, whatever you thought about so far as things that you need to change, here's my question. Would it be worth giving that up for $10,000 a month? You see how this is all connected? If there's still something you don't understand yet, it's okay. We haven't gotten to making it connect yet, but it will all be connected by the time we're done. Everybody said yes. I agree. See, I set a big goal at the beginning of the year last year, 2020, and had to do the same thing. And we have to do the same thing every year. New levels, new devils, right? And it was worth it. But guess what? You cannot conquer what you don't first confront, and you cannot confront what you don't first identify. So you got to identify it first. What are the things you got to, right? You got to identify it. So you cannot conquer what you don't first confront. And you cannot confront what you don't first identify. So you got to identify it. You got to be honest. In other words, what does it mean? You got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. You can lie to everybody else when you leave the house, except yourself. And that's okay. So you cannot conquer what you don't first confront, and you can't confront what you don't first identify. So who are you going to listen to? Are you, who are you going to listen to? How coachable and teachable are you? And I'll give one more example of, how coachable and teachable are you? Like, for example, I'll use our business as an example. If your coach told you something as simple as making a list, right? And you guys that work with us know what a list is. and they say make a list. If you still haven't done it yet, that's an example of where your lack of coachability is. Like, think about it. Do you think, you know, what I love about sports is that everybody is in it for the same things. Like, for example, like when the Bulls, let's just use the Bulls, you know, I'm 38. So, you know, that was my era growing up and, you know, watching basketball the most, right? But Michael Jordan, who was the player, and Phil Jackson, who was the coach, were in it for the same things. They both wanted championships. They wanted trophies. They wanted rings, and they wanted bigger paychecks, right? So why would Phil Jackson, this is where the trust part comes in and who you listen to. Why would Phil Jackson tell Michael Jordan or any other Bulls to do anything that would cost them the ring? That makes sense? They're in it for the same thing. So why wouldn't you be coachable? Why wouldn't you follow? Why wouldn't you submit? Why wouldn't you follow their guidance without asking, without questioning? I said you cannot conquer what you don't first confront. I mean, yeah, and you can't confront what you don't first identify. Is this helpful so far, you guys? Awesome. All right, here we go. Here's number 3 of the 4 basics, the success balance scale. Okay. So guess what? We talked about it a little earlier, but on the success balance scale, guess what? There's the spiritual side and the physical side of success. And this is what we're going to talk about now. A little bit. Okay. So I'm going to share something with you, and this is going to be pretty much the directly from, here's another resource for you. So I told you all about, I would just put on the side, here's what I would do if I were you. I would create a space to write down 2 things that you can do when this is over. One is take some space and write down the different books and resources that are recommended. And then also leave space for action steps that you can apply right away. So we already, as a resource, or, you know, that a video that we recommended is Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. Here's another audio available right on YouTube as well. As a Man Thinketh. Now, back then, they used to refer to everybody as a man, or how it was weird back then. So it applies to women too, okay? So, yeah. I don't want any of the women sending me a message. Where's our version? No, it's for everybody. Okay. So The Strangest Secret, As a Man Thinketh, and I'm giving you number 3 right now. Think and Grow Rich. And by the way, As a Man Thinketh is written by James Allen. James Allen, A-L-L-E-N. These are some of the first audios that changed my life, and they're free. But most people won't listen or read because they just don't. But if you ever want to hide secrets of success from people, from the average person, just put it in a book. They'll never look there. All right, so The Strangest Secret, As a Man Thinketh, and number 3 is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Okay. Now, over the last 17 years, I've completed somewhere between 350 and 400 books, audios, courses. So when I'm sharing these, I'm literally sharing the best ones with you related to what we're talking about right now, okay? Okay, hey guys, I appreciate, you guys are posting some good books, but I don't want to confuse everybody, and you know, because if we put too many, then they'll end up reading none of them. All right. So, all right. So the reason why I'm bringing up those books and audios is because what I'm sharing with you right now is straight out of Think and Grow Rich. And again, as I mentioned earlier with Napoleon Hill, who's the author, he literally had to take 25 years, not just researching from afar, I mean, literally getting personal time with them. He actually got personal time, studied, researched 500 of the most successful people at that time, almost 100 years ago. We're talking about Henry Ford, Charles Schwab. I mean, the presidents of that time, like they were successful in whatever it is they do, okay? It wasn't always money, but, right? Now, after that 25 years, he found out that the successful people in the world, they had 13 things in common that make them successful. And he wrote a book about it. And the original book was not Think and Grow Rich, actually. The original book was called The Laws of Success. And it was so good and it reveals so much that they actually banned it. Now there's a watered down version of The Laws of Success. So then they diluted it a little more. And now we got Think and Grow Rich. So that's the history of that. But Think and Grow Rich in itself is powerful enough. The original version of The Laws of Success is like 1,000 pages, okay? So most people wouldn't read it anyways. All right, I'm giving y'all a bunch of history on this stuff. But Think and Grow Rich, all right? Now, here's what happens. Write this down. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Out of those 13 things that Napoleon Hill found out successful people have in common, the first one was desire. Okay. The first one was desire. Now, guess what desire is? Desire equals your why. And in today's context, guess what your desire is? $10,000 a month. Or whatever your goal is. The other cool thing about desire, the principles of desire work for any goal. When you really understand the principles of desire that we're about to go over right now, guess what? You can apply it towards getting to $10,000 a month. You can then use those same principles to get to $10,000 a week. For some people, $10,000 a day. And the same principles of desire that got people like Elon Musk and, you know, others to $10,000 an hour. The same principles. This is how important this stuff is to know. So take out a sheet of paper or flip to a new sheet, and I'm going to give you something that's important to write by itself. Okay. So for this to work, your desire has to become an obsession. And I know, you know, sometimes there is negative, you know, associations with the word obsession, but I mean obsession in a positive way. In other words, your desire has to become a focus and a dominating thought that you have. That's what you got to become obsessed, that focused on, intensely focused on it. So on this sheet of paper, here's what I want you to write down. Okay. I want you to write down, I am so happy and grateful now. I'm sharing this principle and it's powerful. Once I break it down as we continue, I learned this from one of my mentors, and I've done affirmations for a long time. But when I found the power behind this one, there's so much psychology and power behind it. So write this down. I am so happy and grateful now that I earn $10,000 a month by December 2021 in my blank business. whatever your business is, in my real estate business, in my whatever your business is. I am so happy and grateful now that I earned $10,000 a month by December 2021 in my blank business. Now, if you don't have a business, then you can fill in the blank with the things you do to earn income. Okay. Now, I'm gonna break this down. Watch this. This is where we start to get, let me see, do I have it here? Let's see. Perfect, here it is right here. I'm gonna break this affirmation down for you. I did a video on this recently. Some of you saw a part of it, but watch this. What you're looking at on the screen right now, please screenshot this. What you're looking at on the screen is the emotional scale, and it shows the different states, the emotional states that we live in, okay? And by the way, on your screen, you might, if you're on the phone screen, you might be able to stretch it with your fingers if you need to see it closer. But here's what happens. Right in the middle right here, you have the word boredom. Okay, hold on one second. Let me do that. Okay, so in the middle is so in the middle you have boredom. When you're bored, right? You're just bored, just you and your thoughts, right? How many of you know that's a dangerous place to be sometimes? I'm just kidding. All right, so boredom's in the middle. If you drop below boredom, you fall into these negative states. So imagine boredom being 0. And then if you drop below boredom, you're dropping to -1, -2, negative boom, and you spiral down to -10. But if you go above boredom, guess what? Then you go to +1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. Okay? Here's what's happening. Watch this. How many of you understand that people are made up of energy? Okay? And energy is made up of, it moves in vibrations, right? Our cells are always moving, okay? And they move in vibration. That's why we say things like positive vibes only. I got a shirt that says good vibes, right? So we say these things, but a lot of people don't actually understand what they mean. Okay, so we're made up of energy, and our cells of our energy are moving in vibration. And then vibration is measured in frequency. So what does that mean? That means the speed of vibration, meaning how fast or slow the vibration is, or how high or low the vibration is. So guess what that means? When you drop below boredom, you're dropping to low vibration. When you go above boredom, you increase your frequency of vibration. Type a 2 in the chat if you are looking to create wealth. I'll tell you why I'm doing this right now, or in just a second. If you're looking to create wealth, watch this. Because you're like, well, okay, this is cool. All right, cool, little cute little picture. The heck does this have to do with my bank account? Everything. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Everything that you want is already available. You're not waiting on it. It is waiting on you. Those of you that say, I want to get to $10,000 a month. I want to be a millionaire. Or I want to, right? All these different aspects of wealth, for example. Guess what? The money's already out there. The money's already printed. The money's already available. Here's the problem. It's available up here at the higher frequencies. Happiness, joy, love, freedom, empowerment, passion. But a lot of us are asking for it, but we're living down here in fear, doubt, worry, anger, rage, jealousy, hatred. This is why a hater will never be permanently rich. Ooh. You got people who hate on people, and then they're asking for $1 million, which is available up here. Sorry, hater, it's not available to you. Not right now. You got to change your ways. You got to change your frequency. And the lower you fall down below boredom, the more dangerous of a state you end up in. Here's the good news, you can change it. So that's the problem. That's why it was necessary to show this, because a lot of us are operating. You might not be this low. You might not. I'm hoping you're not a hater. I don't think you would even be here. Haters don't usually participate in these positive things. Okay, so congratulations to all of you. Although we all have a little bit of hater in us, it's there. It's really about how much we control it. I remember, seeing people become successful, and it would always like inspire me. And I'm like, oh my God, congratulations to them. Oh my, what? Oh, them too? What? Wow, they came from a neighborhood like my, and then I just kept seeing more and more people. And then I was like, all right, all right, I got it. That's enough. And I started hating. When is it gonna be my turn? Right? And then I heard TD Jake say something. He said, look, don't get mad when God blesses your neighbor, because that means God is in the neighborhood. Celebrate other people's success. See, when you celebrate other people's success, you move up in frequency. That moves you to things like hopefulness and optimism, and enthusiasm, because you know that it's going to happen for you. You're just waiting your turn. Frequency. So this is why it's important. Now, how does this apply back to that affirmation? I am so happy and grateful now that, guess what you just did? When you say I'm happy and grateful, guess what? That frequency instantly moves you up here to a higher frequency. Write this down. Happy and grateful is the frequency, but now is the urgency. Happy and grateful is the frequency, but now is the urgency. And guess what else? What does now, type it in the chat, what does now spell backwards? You already won. See, when you move yourself into the right state and you stay there, guess what? The thing that you're asking for is on its way. Soon as you move from that frequency and you move out of alignment, it starts to repel away from you. So that affirmation of, I am so happy and grateful now that I earned $10,000 in my business by December 2021, even though the date is out there, the attraction starts right now. Now, you might not have the thing yet, but you've received it. What do I mean by you received it? See, a lot of times what happens is a lot of people they're not even in position to receive it. Some of you still have a hard time receiving a compliment. You reject compliments. So I definitely see people who reject money. But when you use an affirmation like that, what you're saying is, I am so happy and grateful now that, meaning I'm happy and I'm grateful and I already won. I'm in a full state to receive the thing that I'm asking for. Hope that helps. One last thing on this. When you go down into a state, so in order for you to break through, in order for you to achieve more, right? How many of you agree it's going to require some creativity, right? Guess what? You cannot be fearful. There's other versions of this, but they're longer and they wouldn't really fit on the page and the letters got smaller, right? But some of these other states is fear. Fear is down here too, right? Guess what? You cannot be fearful and creative at the same time. You see why? You see the disconnect? So this is the problem. You have people who are approaching 2021 and they are in a state of fear, but they're asking for things that require creativity and a higher frequency. So here's another way to put it. Faith and fear cannot coexist. 1% doubt and you're out. So paying attention to your state, and there's multiple things that you can do to your state. The first thing that I would encourage you to do on your state is to check your associations and your environments. One of the biggest reasons you have people that are already multimillionaires. I'm talking about people with businesses that do 100 million a year in their own Clubhouse. People are trying to figure it out. How are all these people spending all these hours? There's literally multimillionaires on this app called Clubhouse for 10 hours a day. Yesterday, we wrapped up a room with this guy, Dan Fleischman, and some of you might know who he is. He's an investor in 36 companies, multimillionaire. He ran a room for 13 hours yesterday. Now, he took a couple breaks to where some of the other leaders had, you know, moderated the room, but he came back and 13, why would a multimillionaire be on an app, on a social media app for all those hours? You know why? Because it gave him the right associations and the environment to go to the next level. He's in rooms with people that have done better than him. So when it comes to changing your state or growing as a person, guess what? 85% of the way you feel and the things you do is based on the people you're around and the environments you're in. I need to calm down. I'm about to cuss. Woo. All right. So when you're using this affirmation, I would write it down on like a 3x5 card. I would put it somewhere I could see it every day. Put it in your wallet, your purse. Put it somewhere where it's on your desk. Put it, like, again, on a 3x5 card, somewhere you can see it. Look, the challenge with the affirmation is that it's not true at first. So it's uncomfortable. Like, people are like, what? I'm so happy and grateful now. $10,000, man, what? This feels weird, right? This is what people say. I'm lying to myself. No, you're not. I used to think that too. And then my mentor said, no, Billy, you're telling the truth in advance. That's what an affirmation is. When you do it the right way. When you do it with faith and conviction, you're telling the truth in advance. Let me explain more. Remember that book, the little book I talked about, Think and Grow Rich? There's another chapter out of those 13 things that he found made successful people successful. One of them is called auto-suggestion. Auto-suggestion, which is self-talk. How many of us, type a 3 in the chat if you're guilty sometimes of speaking negative to yourself? Type a 3. Oh, I'm so unlucky. Oh my God, the worst things happen to me. 2021, here we go. It's probably going to be like last year. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. I'm saying it to make you aware of what you're doing. And I'm going to explain this to you. You're right. Jalea said that brings you to low vibration, right? So watch this. There's a part of your brain, okay, called the cerebral cortex. How many of you know what a heat-seeking missile is? You know what a heat-seeking? So a heat-seeking missile, there's a, a regular missile, you set it at a target and then it just goes straight to that target. A heat-seeking missile, like if you ever see like in movies where they have those fighter jets and one jet shoots a heat-seeking missile at the jet in front of it. Well, when the jet goes left, the missile goes left because it's seeking the heat of that jet, the target. So it's following it, okay? Guess what? When your cerebral cortex is like a heat-seeking missile, and the problem with it is it's associated with your subconscious mind. So the things that you say to yourself, your subconscious and cerebral cortex does not know the difference between truth and reality. So whatever you say out loud or even think to yourself, your subconscious mind takes it as a demand or a command. So when you say things like, man, the worst things happen to me, the cerebral cortex says, all right, let me look for more worse things to happen to you. It takes it as a command. When you say, I'm so unlucky, your subconscious and your cerebral cortex says, all right, I'll go to work. Let me look for more ways to continue to reinforce that. I got good news for you, though. It also works for positive things that you say to yourself. And here's what happens with the cerebral cortex. I'll give you an example. If you don't believe that this is real and it's really a part of your brain, I'll prove it to you. Receipts. Here's my question. How many of you ever purchased a car and as soon as you got it, you felt like everybody copied you? You like saw them all over the place. You're like, what in the world? I got it because nobody had it. Now I got it. Everybody copied me. No, that's not what happened. Now that you got it, it opened up your radar, quote unquote, cerebral cortex, and now you just notice it more. Now it stands out more. So guess what happens? When you get clear on what you want and you have affirmations to back it up and you say, I am so happy and grateful now. You got a desire, you got affirmations, and guess what? You increase your frequency by staying in a positive state. All of a sudden, just like you noticed that car, you're going to notice opportunities. You're going to notice people, and you're going to notice resources that can take you to $10,000 a month or whatever your affirmations are. Yep, reticular activation system, exactly. Woo! All right. So you want to make sure you're doing these affirmations on a daily basis, and that's the I am so happy and grateful now is the income one, but you can use these on all of them. And make sure when you do affirmations, they're written and you use the 3 Ps. It has to be personal, positive, and present tense. Personal, I am. So that's about you. It has to also be positive. For example, I wouldn't say, I want to get out of debt, but because then your brain focuses on debt, the word debt, right? So I would say it feels good to be financially free. See the difference? Okay. So it needs to be personal, it needs to be positive, and it needs to be present tense. Not in 2022, I will be successful. No, right now, it feels good to be successful right now. Like you got to put yourself in the state in advance. All right. So that's the affirmations piece. Okay. I got a few more things before we get into the last of the 4. Okay. All right. Helpful so far? Type of 5 if this is valuable for you so far already, starting off the new year. Awesome. All right. So next question. What is the meaning of desire? So if desire is the starting point of all achievement, then what is the meaning of desire? The meaning of desire is to have a strong feeling of having something. A lot of us know what we want, but we don't have a strong enough feeling for it. So again, the meaning of desire is to have a strong feeling of having something. Next point. Desire starts as a thought. Everything that you have, everything that you see started as a thought. The car you drive started in somebody's mind. Can you imagine that? It started as an idea in somebody's mind. So if all the things we see were created from an idea, then why can't we produce ideas and then turn them into reality? All of us have the most powerful computer in the world in our head called our brain. It's just about how we use it is going to determine what we get out of life. Think about how amazing your phone is or your computer. Think about all the features and the sophistication and, all the technology, like all the attributes to your phone. That's, think about a phone, especially, I don't know about Android users, good luck, but iPhone users, amazing. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody with a phone, right? When you look at our phones and you think about how sophisticated they are, right? Think about, especially those that are older. Like some of us grew up on Atari. You know what I'm saying? Like Sega. You know what I'm saying? So like when you fast forward, and especially some of us that had computers with CD-ROMs and floppy disks, you know what I'm saying? Like 8-track tapes. Am I taking some of y'all back? Now, compare that to Our phones, computers in our hands, right? Some of y'all wanted to. Jared said, Lord, right? No, here's the point though. Think about how amazing that technology is. And it's still not more powerful than the human brain. So if a phone is as amazing as it is, how amazing are you? If you don't have all the things you want, it's okay, but you still have the ability to because you have the human brain. Now it's just about how you use it and put it to work. All right. So the next point is this. Desire starts as a thought, and then after that, then it has to transfer to thinking. So it starts off as one thought, like a single thought, right? But then it has to transfer to thinking. What is thinking? Thinking is many thoughts. So what are we saying? When you are constantly thinking about something, that is when you're obsessed with it. Some of y'all got your spouse that way. Or y'all working on it right now? Thinking about them all day. All right, this is another topic. We'll save that one for March. All right, I'll stop. All right, so here's a question. This is going to be a wake-up call for some of us. Some of you are still trying to make the connection. I think this will bring it home. The connection of thinking and obsession and thinking about it a lot. And okay, let me ask you this question. How much do you think about your job? Like literally, how many hours a week do you think about your job? So for example, first of all, if you work full time and you work 40 plus hours a week, you're at work. So you're thinking about your job while you're at work. How many of you thinking about your job before you even get to work? You thinking about the stuff you got to do when you get there. And then when you leave work, you're still thinking about some work. And then on the weekend, you're thinking about Monday. So think about all the hours your job is on your mind throughout the week. Guess what? All of that thinking is just reinforcing your job into your life. The only difference for people who go out and achieve their goals and their vision and become successful is they just think about their goals as much as you think about your job. That's obsession. And it's crazy because if somebody has a job, you know, people who are building businesses and doing other things, they don't condemn the employee for thinking about their job 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week or whatever it is, right? But then when a lot of people see entrepreneurs and they're obsessed and it's all they talk about and think about, they actually think there's something wrong. Like, this person's crazy. That's all they think about. Exactly. That's how it works. It's the key to the staying in the right frequency. And it's the key to staying on path to achieve the things that they're thinking about. You also have to structure your environment to where your goal or your vision is always on your mind. So literally setting up your environment, like I said, with pictures, create a vision board. We might be doing a vision board workshop next weekend, stay tuned. But creating a dream board or a vision board, creating, writing out your goals, posting it somewhere you can see it every day, like structure your environment so it's on your mind. Okay. All right. So now we switch gears and now we're going to talk about transferring your desire into your reality. Type a 1 in the chat if you are ready to transfer your desires into your reality. All right. So here's the key to making this happen. Because a lot of us have been, we've been knowing what we want, right? A lot of us have had the same goals and vision and dreams for a long time, right? But how do I do it? Like, how do I take this idea? The first thing I want to make sure you understand is that whatever your vision is, whatever the things are that you're seeing that you want or what's possible for you, it's real. And the reason why it's real is because when you understand, I don't want to get, I'm not getting spiritual, but what I'm saying is that God would never tease you. God wouldn't tease you by allowing you to see something for yourself without giving you the ability to actually make it happen. So if he allowed you to see it, he gave you the ability to achieve it. So you need to know that your vision is real. So how do we take our desire and make it our reality? Here's the secret. You have to get all of your senses involved. You know your 5 senses? And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Pretty much all of them except for taste. I don't want you to taste $10,000. You don't have to do that. All right. Go to your bank tomorrow and say, hey, Billy said, I got to taste some money. Y'all got, that's not, all right. We like to have fun. All right. This is why I told y'all to, get a drink or something if you, all right. I'm drinking right when this is over. So, all right. So, okay. We're starting to wind down to the last parts. Here we go. All right. So to transfer your desire to your reality, it requires your senses. Now, here's how we start off. Here's number 1. When I'm constantly thinking about it or thinking about my desire, when I'm constantly thinking about something, guess what? It's because I'm constantly seeing it. So if I'm seeing it often, this is why you want to structure your goals. This is why you want to, your environment, your vision board, like see it every day, view it daily. I would view my goals at the beginning of the day and the last thing before I go to sleep. Okay. So when I'm constantly thinking about it, guess what? I'm constantly seeing it because our brain translates our thoughts into pictures. Like when I say red Corvette, you don't see, and your brain doesn't picture the letters R-E-D space C-O-R. No, you see like a red car. You guys see what I'm saying? Our brain is set up to take a thought and then translate it to a picture. So if I keep constantly thinking about the thing that I want, then guess what? I'm constantly seeing it in my brain. So that's the sight part when it comes to the 5 senses. And what happens is, remember I said the definition of desire, the strong feeling of having something. So if you're constantly thinking about it, which means you're constantly seeing it, guess what it's doing? It's constantly triggering the feeling of having it. This is why obsession is necessary to achieve it. I'm gonna say that one more time. So when I'm constantly seeing it or thinking about it, then I'm constantly seeing it in my mind, which is constantly triggering the feeling of having it. All right, let's go to the next sense. When you are constantly saying it, when you are constantly seeing it, you are constantly saying it. Okay? This is all under the spiritual side of the success balance scale. When you are constantly saying it, you are constantly seeing it. I'm sorry, hold on. When you're constantly seeing it, I haven't had a drink, I promise. Not yet. When you are constantly seeing it, you are constantly saying it. Here's why. Your brain and your mouth are connected. The stuff you're thinking about the most is the stuff you're talking about the most. Think about it. This is why most people's conversation is about their job or their circumstances. Because that's what they're seeing the most, saying the most, and talking about the most. So when you become obsessed over your desires or your vision, what ends up happening is You're thinking about it, you're seeing it, you're feeling it, it keeps triggering the feeling. So guess what? You end up talking about it more and you start to do what? Speak it into existence. So guess what we're doing here today, guys? I guess I gotta, expose what we're doing here. All we're doing is the stuff we've been doing our whole life. Now we just get to use it on purpose for the things we want. That's it. See, some people how many of you have ever wondered, I'm over here trying to figure out how to, become successful positively. And then you got people that are like doing illegal things and getting rich. How are they getting rich being, nasty people and I'm struggling? Guess what? The principles of desire work for everyone. It's the principles, it's not the person. All you were missing was the principles. You were a good person, you were just missing the principles. All right. So again, your brain and your mouth are connected. So it's important that you design what you see and what you focus on in your brain. Okay. And here's the problem. If all you're seeing is failure, then that's all you're going to speak about. What you speak about, you bring about. So if all you're thinking is failing and things not working and why I can't do it and people where I'm from don't usually make it and nobody in my family's done it before, so why me? And what you think about is what you bring about. You become what you dwell on. So if all you see right now is your current circumstances, that is your current success balance scale. This is why it's necessary to get clear on the branding vision. Okay. So be careful. One, what you speak about. And two, this goes back to what I said earlier about this is why you have to be careful of your associations and the environment you're in. If all of the people you're talking to on a daily basis and the places you go are reinforcing your current circumstances, you need to break out. Jim Rohn said, walk away from the 97%. Don't do what they do. Don't speak like they speak. Walk away. Some people say, but I don't want to leave my people. You're not leaving them. They're choosing to stay behind. Has nothing to do with you. When you went from 4th to 5th grade, if you had some kids that decided not to study, decided not to move forward, would you stay in the 4th grade just to make them feel better? How long is it okay for your kid to stay in the 1st grade? I'm just asking. 2 years? 3 years? 1. We demand it from our kids, but we don't demand it from ourselves to elevate every year as adults. I'm telling y'all, if I end up cussing, don't judge me because I'm that passionate about helping people break through. This is my purpose, period. All right. So Billy, I hear you now. You're talking about seeing it and saying it and speaking it and feeling it. So Billy, what should I be saying? I'm glad you asked. Here's what you should be saying. I am so happy and grateful now. And you can fill in the blank. Guess what? Even when things aren't going your way and it seems like life is going the opposite direction of the things that you're desiring in 2021, guess what you got to say? I am so happy and grateful now. And you fill in the blank. This is why that paper should be with you at all times. And guess what? When we talk about our 5 senses, guess what's happening when you're saying it? Guess what's happening? You're hearing it. And that's how it enters into your subconscious mind. That's how you get to purposely condition your mind for success. So now that thing that just started out as one thought is now starting to manifest into something that's very real. Okay. So now I want to go to the next one. What about touching it? How do I touch $10,000 before I get it? Remember I said the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's real and what isn't? How many of you seen The Secret? Type in 2 in the chat. You saw The Secret. How many of you remember the part about Mark Victor Hansen, the author of the Chicken Soup books and so forth? Right? Do you remember before he made it? What he said in The Secret, he said he wrote a check for himself to $100,000. And that was his vision. And he focused on it. And he looked at it every day. And he would hold it up, right? And guess what happened? Eventually he went to an event and a conference, spoke a little bit for something completely different. And there happened to be somebody in the crowd who heard him speak and said, you know what? You're great. She ended up getting him a book deal. Guess how much the first check was for that deal? $100,000. So how do we do that? You could do a check, but here's what I recommend. Take a $10 bill and change the 10 to 10,000. Like with a marker, like not counterfeit. That's not what I meant. Billy said, it's not. All right. For real, it's 2021, you gotta be careful. Billy told, no, I gotta record it. Look, that's not what I said. All right, $10 bill, and you would put $10,000. So every day now, and you keep it somewhere you're definitely at every day. So mine is on my desk. I actually have it right here. I'm not, mine is crazy, the number now, but let's say I have a $10 bill. I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna hold it up and I'm gonna say, I am so happy and grateful now that I earned $10,000 a month in my business by December 2021. Guys, get it? You got, see, when you do this, you have to do it with faith. And guess what? High frequency. If you take the same $10 bill and you hold it up and you say, I'm so happy and grateful now that, right? Some people say affirmations don't work. No, it's you. It's not the affirmations. It's the frequency and the faith, the belief level that you're doing it with. Energy. Write this down. High energy equals high income. Okay. So how do I touch $10,000? That's one way to do it. Okay. And again, every time you pick up that $10,000, guess what it does? It triggers and sends a signal to your brain, reinforcing that desire and that belief. It's a trigger every time you do it. Touch. So it's going now that whatever that $10 bill or $10,000 bill that you're touching is now triggering, going straight, the trigger straight to your brain. All right, the next one. Smell it. You got to smell $10,000. Sounds crazy. This is why people think we crazy, because until you have time to really explain this stuff, it's like, what are they? All right, this is just, no, you got to smell it. So how do you smell $10,000 a month? Well, here's my question for you. What would you do when you get to $10,000 a month? Some people say, well, man, I would drive a different car. Guess what I would do? I would go to the dealership now and smell that car. Sit inside of it. Be careful because of coronavirus. But my point is, some of this stuff I'm saying right now is a little, in a little different environment. But, some people say I would live in a different house. We'll find out where the new houses are, where there's models, and go into those houses now. That's how you smell it. Some of you that have experienced some level of success and you're doing well for yourself or you're comfortable financially, like, wouldn't you agree that hotels you would have tolerated a long time ago will not work anymore? Right? There's just a certain, you're literally, as you make more income, your nose changes. Okay, I'm serious. You know, so yeah, the car, you know, it's up to you what you would do with your money. Some people say, I wouldn't do any of that. I'm not in it for the dream home or the dream car. I want to make $10,000 because I want to help more people. Great. Go help some people now for free. Go do some of the food drives. I do it every now and then as well. Go volunteer for some of the programs in the nonprofits, because then you'll get a chance to say, oh, this is so amazing how they're serving people. When I get to my $10,000 a month, this is what I would do though. Go experience it now. You don't have to wait. Okay? And guess what that does? It creates the feeling of happy and grateful. All right. Now, a little bit of time on the physical side, and I'm not going to spend too much time on that because it's different for everybody based on what you do. So that's the spiritual side, everything that we've covered. But now on the spiritual side, on the physical side is going to include all of the action steps and all the things you have to do, the skills, okay? The skills, you know, the how-tos, strategies, the techniques, practice, all of that's on the physical side. Skills, the how-tos, the strategies, the techniques, and the practice. Here's what I want you to understand. If your only goal is to make money, you will fail. What do I mean by that? Well, those of you that went to college for a career, okay? How much money did college pay you? Type in the chat. Was it 6 figures? How much did your college pay you when you went to school? Oh, so you didn't go to college initially for money. You went to college with a commitment to learn and sharpen your skills. So if you're only in it for the, Sean said, negative 50,000. Exactly. So if you're in it just for the money, you're going to fail. Because before the money comes, you have to acquire the skills and the, right? In order to acquire the money. You have to make a commitment to learn before the commitment to money. If you're in a rush to make money, you will fail. If you're starting from scratch, by the way. Now, some of you, you already have the foundation. You already have the skills. You just need to know what to apply it to the right, the right thing, and you could get to the income you're looking for. Maybe you already have skills in sales or business or people or communication. You already have things that you can apply, and you could go out there and you just need to apply it to the right vehicle, and you could go out there and win. Okay? To be in a rush to make money is to be in the spirit of fear. And guess what? When you're in the spirit of fear, you're not happy or grateful. So don't try to rush the process. The reason why it's important to acquire the skills, let me ask you this question. What's more important, having $10,000 or knowing how to make $10,000? See the difference? Having it, you have it now, but if you spent it or lost it, you wouldn't know how to get it back because you don't have the skills to do so. This is why it's important to acquire the skills. So, and depending on what you're doing, what kind of business you have, or whatever vehicle you choose, some people, the process might only be 6 months because again, they have the mindset, they got some skills, and they can just apply it and go to work and boom. But some people might take 9 or 12 months. Some 18 months. I don't think in 2021, it needs to take more than 2 years with the right vehicle, and plan, right? But the bottom line is you got to respect the process, okay? You got to acquire the skills. I'm almost done. I think about 10 more minutes, 15 minutes, we'll be done. Now, here's another thing. There's a lot of strategies out there, okay? There's a lot of people who have these tips and these strategies and mentors that are great. Guess what? All of them work. Guess what else? All of them don't work. And what makes a difference is the person that's applying them. Because it all comes down to the spiritual side. It's not just the skills. It's all going to be based on your mindset and your willingness to fail. How many of you have said this before? Failure is not an option. I used to say that all the time. And then my mentor said, stop saying that. He said, name one person that became successful without failing first. Name one kid that started walking without falling first. Failure is not only an option, failure is a prerequisite to success. The reason why that, now I love this statement. I will wear this shirt, right? The problem with that philosophy is this is why most people give up before they even try. You know why? Because they're so scared of failure that they rather not try and feel safe than to try and fail on their way to success. So we got to be very careful. You have to be willing to fail on your way. Matter of fact, you want to be massively successful, you got to be willing to be embarrassed at certain times. How bad do you want it? So at the end of the day, guess what? Whatever it is that you're asking for is waiting on you to do two things. It's waiting for you to acquire the right mindset and the right skills. That's what you need in 2021. Okay. So the only thing about the skills is it takes time to develop the skills. So again, respect the process. So now we only have 2 more slides and then we're going to be done. All right. But these last 2 slides are pretty deep. So you can screenshot this next one and then you could get the book Think and Grow Rich and it's going to be in there. But now we're going to switch gears to talk about faith. Faith is number 4 of the 4 basics of success. And to establish faith, what I'm going to do is introduce you, if you've never read Think and Grow Rich, to what is called the self-confidence formula. And when I got started on my journey, I don't read it as much now, but I used to read it every day, actually. And this is what helped me start to establishing the right mindset and seeing a better version of myself, seeing myself as the person that was worthy of having what I was asking for. Here you go. Okay. Hold on a second. Faith works through love. I did a video recently on my Instagram and it's a short video, but it talks about how I personally believe the beginning of progress in all areas in this world right now is founded on love. All of us have been through different experiences. We've had people that have wronged us. We've been through trauma. And usually it was by people who weren't loved. And whether that's the case or not, we individually have a choice how we move forward. And I would recommend in 2021 for you to express more love than you ever have before. So that's my commercial on love. Next slide. So here we go. Okay, it didn't work. There you go. Self-confidence formula. This is one of the formulas from Think and Grow Rich. You can screenshot this. And I'm going to read it out right now. I'm going to break it down though. Okay. All right, here we go. Number 1, there's five sections in the self-confidence formula. First, this is for you to read to yourself on a daily basis. This is after all affirmation. Okay. So this is, those of you, type a 2 in the chat if you could use some more confidence. Okay. Did you know in life, you cannot achieve more than the image you have of yourself? In life, you cannot achieve more than the image you have of yourself. What do I mean by that? If you see, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you see yourself as a 5, meaning your self-esteem and your self-confidence, you don't have a high level of belief and you see yourself as a 5, you cannot achieve more than a level 5. That's in your finances, that's in your, you know, I don't know, your partner, right? Your spouse, soulmate, significant other. There you go, that one. You cannot achieve more than yourself than the image you have of yourself in that area. Now, there are some people who do well financially, but then have challenges in other parts of their life because maybe their family raised them to manage their money well, but then they still have a low self-confidence in the other parts of their life. You guys see what I'm saying? So this is why this formula is very valuable. Let's get into it. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose. That's your desire, by the way. My definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. So the keys to this sentence, it's a few keys, but the main ones is persistence and consistency, which is continuous action, right? This is the biggest ingredient most people miss from achieving whatever they want to achieve. As far as the skills side is, a person can have the desire, they can have the skills, but not be consistent, and then they won't achieve their goal. So that's first. Let's go to second. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into a physical reality. Hold on, let's pause right quick. It said, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce. Well, guess what? It can't reproduce if it was never produced. So we first have to produce the initial desire or thought, okay? Which is making a decision of what you want, okay? Now it says, therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. So here's my question for you. To get to $10,000 a month or whatever your goals are, what kind of person would you need to become to deserve that kind of income? Guys, got it? All right, third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion. Okay, remember we said autosuggestion is self-talk and affirmations? Okay, I know through the principle of autosuggestion that any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. In other words, if I keep talking to myself and keep speaking into existence, it has to end up becoming manifesting, okay? I will devote 10 minutes daily to demand of myself the development of self-confidence. And that's basically this formula here. Number 4, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim. So I wrote it down, my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Never stop trying. Write this down. I will until. All right, and now I'm going to go down to number 5. And then one more slide, and we are done. 5th, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in this is powerful. I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. So in other words, make sure you're operating, whatever you decide to do is you use these principles to do things that are built upon truth and justice, okay? And it only benefits everybody involved. If you break any of these principles, guess what? There's consequences, okay? Like jail, okay? Stuff like that, all right? So don't use these principles and apply it to the wrong stuff, all right? I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy. This book was written almost 100 years ago, y'all. And he's talking about the emotional scale. I will eliminate hatred, envy. Napoleon Hill was the first author to talk about haters back in 1930s. I don't know. I'm just making it up. I don't know. All right. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. Whew. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. Okay. Now, what else did he say? He said, I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I will become self-reliant and successful, a self-reliant and successful person. Thank you to Napoleon Hill. Okay. Very powerful. These are just snippets from the book. Again, Think and Grow Rich. All right. Here we go. The last slide. Forgiveness before breakthrough. As we close out 2020 and we come into this brand new year, I want to encourage you to take a look at the things in your past that, or people in your past that may have been holding you back. As we close out 2000, the heck was the echo? Okay. And thank you, Mia. I just saw your message about Clubhouse. Thanks. So, forgiveness before breakthrough. One thing I found out, I'm gonna keep this slide very simple for you. It is a very important concept, but I'm gonna keep it very simple. You cannot move forward until you complete the past. Write that down. You cannot move forward until you complete the past. In other words, if there's things you've been focused on, there's been some disappointments, and there's been maybe some people who owe you an apology, or different experiences, trauma, people have done bad things. Forgiveness is the answer. And it might be the hardest thing to understand this concept until you really understand the psychology of people. But the more, what I found out through my personal development journey and investing in all these books and courses and events and mentorship, and what I found out? The more I learned about myself, the more I understood other people. The more I learned about myself and how crazy my brain was, the less I could condemn other people for the things that they do. And people do some crazy stuff, and I'm like, man, that's bad. But me understanding people's trauma and things they've been through and lack of love, and you're right, like I could see a lot of times how they end up in those situations. So with that said, forgiveness before breakthrough. You cannot move forward until you complete the past. And one other book I would recommend for you is The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And in The Slight Edge, he has a section about how you have to harness completion. By the way, harness completion is not just a forgiveness thing. Harness completion could be something as simple as you need to clean up your house. What do I mean by that? Like, as long as you have things like clutter in your house or in your space or in your brain or in your relationships or in your past, your mind isn't clear enough to move forward the way you need to until you complete those things. Okay? So you cannot move forward until you complete the past. Yeah, the book is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Olson. One of my first mentors. Guess what, guys? You made it. Congratulations. So I hope you all got, tons of value today. I wish you a big 2021. Sorry, my screen is all changing. And a lot of us have to hop off right now. We actually have a call happening that just is starting right now. But this was recorded. We'll get it uploaded to YouTube so you'll have access in case some of the parts went too fast or you just want to revisit it. We'll put this out there. Whoever invited you on can send you the link. This is our environment. This is what we do in our organization. And our whole organization is a Millionaire Mindset organization. And we strive to help people break through in all areas of life. If we just help people make money, but we don't help you build your character and become a better person, you'll just get more money to make worse decisions. So our organization is about helping people build wealth, build financial freedom, and develop into a leader in the community to be able to spread and make more positive impact. So thank whoever invited you on. Again, as I mentioned earlier, in case you came on late, this is the only vision workshop that we do for the year, but we do have other environments like this. We have things we do actually every week. We have some things we do monthly, and we have larger events in person or online right now every few months. And so thank them for inviting you on. If you want to learn more about our organization or any of that, of course, you can find out from whoever invited you on. But other than that, we just wanted to make this available for you guys to start off 2021 with the right direction and guidance. And I hope you got the value that you needed to make that happen. So I appreciate all of you. I see all the comments. You guys are welcome. And we'll get the recording of this up either, if not tonight, by tomorrow with the next 24 hours. And with that said, 2021, we'll see you guys over the top. Have a good one.